Hey, what's going on, guys? So a few nights ago, I was watching the Dodgers Rockies game. We've got men on first and second, tie game, 3-3 in the bottom of the ninth. Dodgers, there's nobody out. They're going to try to sacrifice the runners over to second and third. Batter bunts right through the ball, and the man on second base gets backpicked by the catcher. So I'm going to show it to you real quick, and then we're going to talk about a couple of things that I think will help you guys out.
Got it. They got it picked off here. Wow, what a mistake. And they get the out on the lead runner, Schebler. He gets picked off on a great throw by Garneau on the missed bunt attempt. You see that happen somewhat frequently. Guys try to make sure they get a good secondary and get a good jump when the bunt gets put down. And then when the bunt is completely missed, they get hung out to dry like that. But it's on Schebler, man. You got to get back.
All right, so there's the play. And I've got a couple of things, both from an offensive perspective and from a defensive perspective. Let's start with the defense. As a defense, anytime that there's a situation where the opposing team is going to be bunting with a man on second base and they're going to try to sack him over, it's a really good idea as a catcher that if he bunts through the ball in any way, you should automatically think about coming up and come throwing the second base, because base runners do this really, really often, where they try to be so aggressive. I'm going to fast forward real quick. They want to be so aggressive because they're so worried about getting thrown out at third base that they end up crossing over when the ball is bunted through, or even if the ball is not bunted through and it's taken. A lot of times the runner will cross over, and you have an opportunity. If you come up quickly throwing, you're going to nail that runner most of the time. And it's an easy play because in this bunt situation, the shortstop is holding him on, and he's basically got second base on a bunt. And so you've got your defender right there. So you can easily come up and throw. So work on that in practice. Think about putting that in. So anytime there's a bunt through or a taken bunt, you can think about coming up and throwing. And what it's going to do is it, as an offensive team, if they don't know you do that, well, then they might get picked off. If they do know that you do that, well, it's going to limit his ability to get off the bag, so that when a bunt is put down, you're going to have a better chance of getting the guy out at third base because he's going to be so worried about getting backpicked. So that's from a defensive perspective. From an offensive perspective, let's fast forward again. From an offensive perspective, when you're a base runner and there's a situation where there's going to be a sacrifice bunt and you're on second base, your secondary lead needs to be a sacrifice bunt secondary lead. Okay, so you want to do the opposite of what he does right here. You want to put everything into the hitter's or the bunter's hands. You don't want to try to make this play on your own. It's not your responsibility to get the absolute greatest jump in the history of baseball to get to third base. Put it in your bunter's hands to get the ball down to the third baseman so that he has to come get it, and then you can walk in the third base. Do not try to put it all in your hands and be captain base runner. If the bunter bunts the ball back to the pitcher, or if he bunts the ball hard to the first baseman, and they throw you out at third base, guess whose fault it is? It's the bunter's fault. It's not your fault. So your secondary lead, after you shuffle, this second shuffle should be soft, and you should be square. You should not be crossing over. You should not be guessing. Let your eyes tell you what to do. See the ball down and move up. And like I said, if it's a bad bunt, well, then that's not your fault. The bunter should be able to get a bunt down somewhere in this direction, or should be able to deaden it and bunt it soft enough. That's probably not a good bunt. Get rid of that. Should be able to deaden it and make it soft enough to where the pitcher can't get it and it's too far for the catcher. So don't try to take everything in your own hands, because this is what's going to happen. And you've now, in a 3-3 game in the bottom of the ninth, put your team in jeopardy of losing the ball game, or at least not winning the ball game here, when all you had to do is have a softer secondary and let the bunter do his job. So let me know if you have any questions. Leave in the comment section below. Like the video, share with all your friends, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, and we will talk to you later.